Right, so I am actually at the dealership. So yes, I have bought new. I'm at the dealership and I'm basically, well, coming to collect my new car. And I've kind of been cryptic and funny about how and what I was getting. So I'm just going to reveal it. I'm just going to go up front and reveal it. And it is a Honda E. No, man, joking. It is the new FK8 Civic Type R. Yes, I have bought Championship White, and I'm literally grinning ear to ear. Championship White FK8 Honda Civic Type R. So yeah, literally absolutely buzzing about it, and it looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing. I'll just flip it around for you now. But also, white and red just looks so good. Look at those Recaro seats and the red little accents. It just looks mega, and it is the colour, in my opinion, to have. Just looks epic. Anyway, I'm going to do a full video for you very, very soon. Well, I'm going to enjoy it, and then I'll talk you through all the new bits on the car. New facelifted edition, obviously just come out. I think we're one of the first customers to basically get one in the whole of the UK, far as I'm aware. I think if anyone else was getting them, they'd probably only get it today. So yeah, we literally picked this up, and yeah, I'm about to go drive. Done a deal with the good guys at John Banks, Nick at John Banks Honda, links in the bio, etc. Yeah, if you want to get yourself get your hands on one of these, they are available now to order in non-GT, GT and Sportsline editions. Links in the bio to all of the tech specs, etc. And yeah, what you've got to do to get one. But this new facelift looks so much better than ever before. But I just love white, and I had to go with Championship White. One, because of the heritage of what it means to Honda, but also white and red just looks so good. Look at those Recaro seats and the red little accents. It just looks mega, and it is the colour, in my opinion, to have. Just looks epic. Yes, so welcome to another video, and yeah, you'd have seen from the title, you'd have seen from the introduction even, this is my new car. And yeah, it'll be of no surprise to some people, but genuinely we tried 12 different cars. Pretty much most of them were hot hatches, a couple of performance saloons, even some performance diesels, and there was some that were more sensible than others. That being said, all were quite or fairly wild, but then something that's kind of mildly livable. There was a few that really just weren't livable at all and probably didn't tick the boxes. So as a complete package, this definitely ticked the boxes. And I'll be honest with you, for me, it was the best car for me. So of all the choices and potential choices we had, not only did this tick the boxes, for me, this is the best hot hatch out there on the planet. But this, obviously it's my opinion, there's actually a lot of good choices, and there can always be a choice for different individual tastes and different individual needs, I guess. But for me, the Honda Civic Type R and the FK8 is the best hot hatch on this planet, and probably ever made. There's different cars that are maybe the older school Civic Type Rs, the DC2, Lotus Elan, and things like that you probably would say are noteworthy, 206 GTI, all those kind of cars that probably be in that realm. But they're very different car. They are probably a little bit more analog, even though this still feels analog, and that's what I like about it. It definitely you know, pretty much as an all-round car, and as hot hatches go in terms of driver focus and everything else, driver dynamics and chassis, there genuinely isn't a better car on the planet than this in the hot hatch segment. There really isn't. And yeah, you'll probably see I didn't do much of an intro and introduction to kind of my new car, and the reason being is, to be honest with you, since we've picked this up, unfortunately the weather in jolly old England has been absolute crap, to put one of a better word without swearing. The weather has been absolutely atrocious. I normally would have done a lovely little fancy video explaining or showing some lovely B-roll. I tried to get a little bit, but I couldn't get that much because the weather's been crap, genuinely every day. Anyway, back to the video. This is just going to be a basic introduction. I'm going to tell you actually my first thoughts, and weirdly I've driven this from the showroom to our house, which is literally 10 mile away, so I haven't had a chance to drive it. So today you'll get general kind of reaction from me driving the car a bit more, and this essentially is my first proper drive. I'm going to drive this car about 100 miles today, going to basically see a potential new sponsor on the channel. It's to do with car cleaning products and detailing. Always wanted someone on board to kind of do some detailing with kind of the channel's cars, and we think we've got a partner in this company, so I'll introduce you to them fairly shortly as well, so look out on socials. If all goes well with our talks, you'll expect to see that video very, very soon. So yeah, a bit more about the car. Yeah, it basically has proven to us, even in its old guise, that it ticks all the boxes that you'd want in a car for a everyday daily driver. But what are the differences on this model, and can you feel them? So we drove the FK8 pre-facelift, we can call it now. It's the outgoing model. This is a new current gen model. This is the facelifted version. I have told you about the notable differences in other videos, but I'll quickly go through them really quick and spitball them if I can remember. Right, front bumper is redesigned, and rear bumper, it's got these noticeable winglets on the front and the rear, but it has been quite redesigned with aero and air cooling. It's got 30% more air cooling efficiency and allowing more airflow through, 13%. But they've also given this new model an even bigger, better uprated radiator as well, which is really good. So they noticed that on track days in hot countries, or even in countries like this when you've got a hot day, when super hard pushed, you can get the temperature not high to the extent it's very dangerous, but a little bit too high. So the Honda Bods have basically redesigned all of that front end and radiator, and it's increased the cooling of this car massively. Airflow by 13%, I think the cooling by about 25%, so it really is going to keep that air inlet temperature down, which is great, because the moment that creeps up, the performance and the power will go down. So they've sorted that out. Not that anyone's been moaning about it, but obviously people do short shifter kits on these cars when they modify them. Honda's probably seen some of these people doing videos, and they've gone, well, you know, what the hey, let's put a short shifter and a shorter throw gearbox or throw in the selector or the gear mechanism as well, and they have. So it's reduced throw, and it feels even better for it. Redesigned, also got a different weighted gear knob, which is beautiful to touch. This one's a kind of spherical teardrop type design, and it's lovely. It feels lovely in hand, really nice, and it works a treat. As well as that, there has been revisions to kind of the onboard ECU controller for the suspension. So it now reads the road 10 times faster, and actually the dampers have been redesigned apparently, or altered and changed and modified. So the suspension definitely does feel different in this car, and in my opinion 100% for the better. I'm not lying to you, because we've bought it. What I've noticed, even though the Civic Type R was absolutely out of this world and absolutely fantastic for driver dynamics, and you've got the modes, I found that every single mode, the dampening, especially on the softer modes, especially, should I say, comfort, the dampening was very jiggly, so it would kind of, before it reset itself, it would kind of bounce quite a bit. You'd imagine that probably would be the case with comfort, but now, in comfort, which I'm in now, the dampening is more refined in my opinion. It resets much quicker, even on comfort. But because of that, what I found is the modes are much more apparent and are much more useful. So the whole car, it's again got uprated bushes and uprated geometry as well. It feels in the steering, so you've got better steering feedback even and I mean, not being funny, actually, that's one thing, it was ridiculously amazing anyway, but you've got even more better steering feedback. Before, what myself and actually the missus would say is that you could easily probably put it in Armour Plus mode all of the time, or you'd never change and go any other setting other than Elite Sport, which is the default. Now, in my opinion, when you want comfort, you will want to go in comfort. It's just that little bit more stiffer, and because every setting, in my opinion, feels a little bit stiffer, every mode feels more apparent. Obviously, engine response and power is different in each of the modes. Obviously, comfort being the lowest, sports being in the middle, and R plus being, you know, wild and you know, when you're really wanting to go for it. Like I say, in the modes, comfort this time round is really pliant and lovely. It's a little stiffer than it used to be, but it's still so comfortable, and it absorbs all the lumps and bumps perfectly. Better than even before. Whatever they've done has worked the treat. Comfort is properly nice for comfortable situations or everyday driving and on the motorway. Before, in my opinion, it used to feel a bit too jiggly and it was too soft unless you were really on rutty bumps on cobbled streets, and then it was useful and it worked well. This is even better. Sports mode now, which I'm going to put it on now, is firms everything up, response comes up, same as before, but it definitely rides a little bit more sure-footed and sweet and sporty. R plus really firms everything up. Like I say, every mode feels stiffer. This R plus mode definitely is now nice and wild, and I love that. This is the track mode, and this is the, you know, the fast mode that you want when you want to have a play around. But every mode is awesome. Every mode is more needed for its apparent reasons now. It's a little bit stiffer basically, but it's livable still, and it's epic. I love it. Another thing that's worth noting is that whatever they've done to the geometry and alignment and suspension, to me it certainly feels like it grips better in the rain, which actually is well worth mentioning. Before, you'd get a little bit of scramble when you give it a little bit of beans, and although I'm not driving this, you know, 10/10ths, I am definitely giving it some acceleration out of corners, and it's certainly gripping more. One thing I did notice about the old outgoing model is it low down it'd scramble, and you'd probably get a little bit of axle tramp. When we use this a bit more, I want to see if there's it may have dialed out the axle tramp. Again, the things I'm mentioning are probably the only things that I'd say are the weaker points of the near perfect kind of outgoing FK8. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it scrambles and axle tramps a little bit less as well. But yeah, certainly a lot more grip in the rain, which is really good, low down. Brilliant. So yeah, one thing this has got is it's got sound orchestration, so it pipes some of the sound from the engine bay into the cockpit of the cabin, and it kind of plays a little bit. I think it's more a bit like a Fiesta ST, but it also kind of plays a little bit through the speakers, and it's actuated and heightened in each of the different modes as you go through the modes. I don't know if they've done anything else with this, and I do know that manufacturers do make revisions aside from things like, you know, acoustically playing it through the speakers. But to me, on startup, this car sounds a little bit louder. It might be a placebo, but I think on cold startup it does sound a little bit nicer, not bassier, and nicer than the outgoing model. Whatever it's doing, it's not over the top actually, like some other cars, but it really does give you a sense of where, you know, the revs are in the rev range, and I love it, to be honest with you. It gives you an even more special feel about the car, and I think that's great because yeah, it is a little bit quiet, I think, out of the factory, so this gives it a nice little sound back, which I think is great, and I'm not going to complain about it. Interior Alcantara steering wheel feels gorgeous. I prefer it to the leather steering wheel. Feel is lovely. They've still kept it nice and small. They've not done a stupid chunky steering wheel like some manufacturers do, so you get really nice feedback from the steering, as you'd want, with a nice, reasonably thin steering wheel, which I love. And this Alcantara feels absolutely beautiful. We've got Alcantara on the door pockets as well, which is really, really nice. And the interiors, yeah, they've zhuzhed it up a little bit. They've changed the buttons on and some of the interface on the infotainment system, and it really is much better. With my missus has been living with this for a few more days than I have, and she's said to me it's far better than the outgoing model, which is really, really good to hear. And like I say, we're going to give you a long-term test of this very shortly, and probably a more thorough drive test. Obviously the conditions today are horrid, so it's not the perfect scenario and day to do that. And also, to be fair, I'm running the engine in, although they're dyno running, I still like to give the car about 1,000 miles before I push it hard. Let's give it a little bit of push. Obviously it's damp and dewy around these parts, so it's a bit dangerous, but looks beautiful though, like this. But yeah, the car just feels so sure-footed, it's so planted, and I just love the feel of the dampness. It feels so well dampened, but at the same time feels like a blooming race car. It's just epic, absolutely epic. What a car. Honda have again just smashed it out of the park. They smashed it out of the park, and the ball's just continued into space. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, this car. What a machine. Some other noteworthy things, obviously brakes have been improved. They've even increased or lessened the travel in which and where you get the biting point. And weirdly, it was one of my only gripes, and I wouldn't say it's a gripe, because I found that you have either had to press the brake quite hard on these cars, or you had to get a bit of heat before you got nice modulation and bite. Although the bite was still a little bit lower than I would have liked. I like race car bite. I like it really high up, and I like it so you can literally almost modulate with your little toe. They have revised the positioning, so there's it's quicker. It has a quicker response and a higher biting point, which I love. The modulation is far better. They've put a better brake pad in this, so again it works better from cold and even better in extreme temperatures. And they've put a 2-piece floating disc out of the factory on this car, so it has race car brakes, beautiful Brembo 4-pot calipers, big ass 350mm discs, and they're 2-piece floating floating discs. That saves a combined total of 2.5 kilograms of unsprung mass. Now I worked out what that equates to, and it's close to, basically there's a calculation that, you know, techie engineering bods have done, and 2.5 kilograms of unsprung weight is a bit like the equivalent of you removing 20 kilograms from the car. So any mass you've got from the added speakers you get from the GT model, 11 speakers versus 8, and the subwoofer, etc., which is not, apparently they're quite a lightweight unit, you've completely negated by having those that weight removed from the brake rotors. That being said, also unsprung weight is much better than normal free weight in the car, basically. So anytime you can remove unsprung weight, there's a performance advantage both in acceleration and wheel horsepower accumulation, essentially. So you feel it, basically. Does it feel any quicker? I don't know yet, because obviously it's not running yet. It's not running, but I've got a draggy module, and I'm going to do some draggy tests for you, and I'm going to give you some real pulls. We're hopefully getting a run on a runway, so we should be able to do some 60 to 130s. I think that's where it will tell, because I think front wheel drive is always going to scramble a little bit, so I don't expect the 0 to 60 to be anything better from that small change. But I wouldn't be surprised if the 60 to 130 might change by 0.1. I know it's not a lot, but that might be 1 or 2 car lengths. So it's certainly going to be something not to be sniffed at. So I suspect, technically, these new Gen 1s should be a little bit quicker for that reason alone. So because the weight hasn't gone up, the weight has gone down. So for the unsprung mass being removed, as well as the weight being slightly removed, it's not going to be much different. Realistically, better unsprung weight is going to equate to a quicker car. So I would imagine that this car is probably a little bit quicker than the outgoing model, which is great. They're the two biggest things to note, because they're the two things that, in my opinion, are amazing. Like I say, in terms of how you feel and what the how the brakes feel, I can just literally put my toe on this brake. It was a bit like how my Fiesta ST was with the big brake kit from EBC. It is out of this world. The stopping power now on these brakes, and I tell you what, actually, in this damp conditions, this car actually in the rain is still. A lot of people always say, obviously it depends on the platform and the drivetrain in terms of outright grip, but they always say if a car handles well in the dry, it should, and it has a good chassis in the dry, it should handle well in the rain, unless it's got crap tyres. Out of the factory, these have a Continental Sports Contact 6. They're outstanding. The only time apparently they're not so good is when you're on track and you're pushing them hard. They can overheat a little bit. And when I say overheat, they can overheat, blister, and deteriorate quick. And there is, you know, people saying that apparently the normal life cycle for these tyres, especially on the front, is circa 6,000 miles a pair. So at 20-inch and 245 30R 20s, it isn't cheap. But that's probably about the only thing that consistently could potentially cost quite a bit on this car. But other than that, like I say, fuel efficiency is out of this world, and the rest of the car is absolutely outstanding. So yeah, really efficient, great daily car. But yeah, it is genuinely a dream, guys. I think a summarisation of the changes is, like I said, I drove this only the outgoing model not too long ago, and I drove it for a reason, and I borrowed it actually from Honda for a week. The reason why is I knew I was getting this. This ended up coming earlier, and I think we've got the first facelifted FK8 apart from Honda Press in the whole of the UK. So customer wise, we've got the first one in the UK. So we're going to rinse the media on this, and we are going to put out so much media out on this car. So keep an eye on the channel. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. If you've got any questions about the cars, hit us up in the comment section. But before I go, I am going to answer one thing. We drove this at the outgoing model only not long ago, and I was saying, what everyone will want to know is this model better? Can you feel it? Is it noticeable? I'm going to answer with a one-word answer. Yes, but I'm going to elaborate. Absolutely, it is better. That car was close, the outgoing model was close to perfection. And if you've got one and you're watching, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't think, oh God, I want one of these cars. You know, that's fine. And I don't blame you for wanting one of these. And I would say, honestly, yes, get it, if you're thinking about it. But you've got a great car in the outgoing model. That car is close to perfection, and there's nothing wrong with it. There really isn't. It was the best car. It was the best hot hatch on the planet by a good margin, in my opinion, for proper driver focus, get your head down, A to B roading and track work. This car is definitely better. It is noticeably better. Basically, Honda have perfected a close to perfect car, and I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know how you could make a car that was doing just a micro fraction over 2 minutes 40 out of the factory with around the Nürburgring. This car obviously is definitely going to cover that in a little bit lower than that, which is crazy. The LE will be even quicker, but it just blows your mind. The steering feedback is even better than ever before, and it was amazing anyway. The gearbox feels even nicer and even slicker with this weighted gear knob and this new revised short shifter. And the brakes feel out of this world, and the suspension changes feel noticeably better. You can feel the differences. For that reason, every mode is better in every way. No mode has been compromised. Every mode has been perfected. It rides much better. It's less jiggly, and as an all-round car, it is the same as ever before and then some. It is mind-blowing. This car handles so flat and is so sure-footed. It is just an absolute dream. You drive it and you can't help but thinking, if you were probably blindfolded or this was all covered up, the interior is covered up, and that's not me saying that it isn't a nice interior, because in my opinion it's a gorgeous interior for circa £35,000. You probably will be able to get a little deal on that. Yeah, we've gone for Championship White. I couldn't have it in any other colour. I say that I love a lot of the other colours, but it was going to always be white for me, and I'm not disappointed in my choice. It is the one for me. I love Championship White. There's a heritage about it, and it was the colour that I just wanted. So it's subjective anyway, because at the end of the day it's what you want, what you visually like. But these also visually, I think these facelifted ones, with the small revisions, it just looks even nicer. And like I say, I'm really sorry I couldn't push it for you guys, but it's not the day and not the time to kind of push it in these conditions. So I'm going to have a full drive video for you very shortly. We're taking this car to Anglesey. We're not taking it around track, unfortunately. We're having a lovely holiday in Wales, in Anglesey, and I'm going to be doing loads of drive videos while I'm away. So I will give the car a real good push, and I'll tell you even more about how it feels and how the changes have really equated when you push it a little bit further. See, that's even in comfort, but no, it's absolutely superb. It really feels so good. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm going to leave it there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, share, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.